After an entire grueling semester of learning about historical literature, you're probably wondering, how is this going to affect my day-to-day life in the future, and is it even still relevant today? This is Paul. Paul is an AP Lit graduate and all around a pretty well-read guy. Today, we're going to follow him through a normal schedule and see how his literature knowledge affects his day-to-day life. Oh no! Paul's coworker Mike has made a huge mess of his desk again. Paul is ready to explode. Then, Paul takes a moment to ponder the Anglo-Saxon literature he looked at in high school, like Beowulf and Astrophel and Stella. In that time period, the Anglo-Saxons learned to rise above their problems and externalize their thoughts in order to move forward towards a solution. Once Paul voices his issues to Mike, they find an easy solution and work out their issues. Good thing Paul studied all that Anglo-Saxon literature in AP Lit. Later that night, Paul went shopping so he could prepare an impressive meal for his very first date in a long, long time. Then Paul spots a beautiful woman across the store and starts thinking some pretty disrespectful thoughts about her. But then, he recalls his days in AP Lit and everything he learned from the wife of Bath's tale in the Canterbury Tales about respecting women. Paul catches himself and changes his ways immediately. And pretty good timing, too, because no girl enjoys a first date with a misogynist. Paul's on his way home for his hot date when a car spins out in the road behind him. He prays to every god he knows or thinks he knows or even made up, crosses his fingers and his toes, and just hopes for the best. But then, he thinks about what he's doing. Paul has nothing against religion or spirituality, but then he recalls the book A Midsummer Night's Dream. In the play, the characters learn to deal with their issues in practical ways rather than just hoping or praying for the best to come to them. Paul calls every phone number he can think of and stays to help, and eventually assistance does come for the people whose cars spun out behind him. As Paul's story has shown us, people tend to follow patterns no matter what era they live in or what their situation is, and every lesson taught throughout history can be applied to today in a very relevant manner. You might be wondering how this could help you with analysis. Well, while reading, you now know to apply what you're reading to the modern world and look for connections between characters of the stories and familiar figures you can relate with today. While writing, make sure to write what you would enjoy reading to focus on your audience and make sure not to ramble or to rant. You guys don't want to research anymore, and neither do I. What you need to know is every era has its own mindset, and literature from each individual era reflects their psychology. The Anglo-Saxons learned to externalize their thoughts, the medieval era taught people to treat women better, and the Renaissance taught people to rely more on secularity than on their spirituality. When researching in the future, make sure to make a plan for your writing, budget your time, cite your sources as you go, and use reliable ones. Also, research something that interests you. Your audience will know if you're not focused on the thing you're supposed to be focused on. Short term, I hope I use my new skills to write better in my essays second semester and also to apply successfully to lots of colleges. Long term, I hope I can use these skills to better myself in my daily life and, of course, my future career.